All right, Ronan MMA, welcome back to the channel. Now, UFC 293 takes place this Saturday. We are here to preview the entirety of UFC 293. I will be giving my pick for every single fight on this card. I start with the early prelim opener. I work my way up as usual. I try to go through the earlier ones a little bit faster so we can spend more time on the main event and other fights on the main card for that matter. I know a lot of people are not overly impressed with this card. The name value is not great. I do think, however, this could potentially be one of those sleeper cards where we get a ton of, fun fights, crazy finishes, things like that. Some of the matchmaking on here is like very under the radar, but also very good. So while it doesn't have all the big names on there, I do think that this is going to be a fun card, and I cannot fucking wait. All right, we're going to start with the first fight of the night, which is Kevin JOUSSET versus Kiefer CROSBIE. Pardon me. Kevin JOUSSET, my kitten's going wild. Kevin JOUSSET only has 2 losses on his record. Okay, he's only ever been stopped. It was a doctor stoppage one time to Jack Della Maddalena back in 2019. This is 4 years ago. Okay, he's 30 years old in his athletic prime, 8-2, splits his victories right down the middle, 4 KOs, 4 unanimous decisions. Kiefer CROSBIE, pardon me, also making his debut. He's a little older than Kevin JOUSSET. He's 33 years old. And his last win, actually pretty impressive, was a stoppage over Cowboy Oliveira. Now, we know Cowboy Oliveira is a little over the hill, not in his prime, not at his peak, even close. It's a good name to have on your resume, but at this point in his career, it doesn't mean as much as it would have maybe 5 years ago, right? So, it is what it is. His other wins are over some pretty unexperienced guys and or dudes that have records similar to Cowboy Oliveira's, dudes who have taken a lot of damage, things like this. So I am going to be going with Kevin JOUSSET here. Now, he's got 4 KOs, but in his last 5 fights, he's only gotten 1 finished, and it came via ground and pound TKO. So I don't think that he's going to be able to knock out Kiefer CROSBIE, who has only been stopped by punches or whatever on the feet one time in his career. I'm going with Kevin JOUSSET by unanimous decision. That is what it is. Moving on up the card to Shane Young versus Gabriel Miranda. I almost went with the underdog in Gabriel Miranda here because I thought, you know what? Tough first opponent in the UFC. Had to fight Benoit Saint Denis. Got finished in the second round. Not going to hold that against him all that much, all right? Because Benoit Saint Denis is a fucking menace to society. So I wouldn't want to fight him in my first fight in the UFC either. But then when you take a deeper dive into his record, it's a little padded, man, and I can't stand seeing that shit. Now, he usually gets the job done by submission, which is why I'm going to be going with Shane Young, because, one, Shane Young has never been submitted. He's got good takedown defense. He's got good submission. Like, he can grapple. He's not just a stand-up fighter. He's never been submitted. I don't think that Gabriel Miranda is going to be able to successfully close the distance on a guy like a Shane Young with the kickboxing that he has. I think he's going to be kicking him at range, leg kicks, body kicks, things like this, not letting him get close. Guys that have a ton of submissions like that, the crazy jiu-jitsu artists, are not necessarily the best takedown artists. You know what I mean? Most of the time, I'm generalizing a little bit, but that does seem to be the case. Shane Young, he's 2-4 in the UFC. He's on a bit of a skid, man, but he has had tough matchups the entire fucking time. He had Volkanovski for his debut. Do you know what I mean? Benoit Saint Denis, that's a hard debut. Volkanovski, Jesus Christ. We didn't know who Volk was back then, but we fucking know now, dude. So that's a tough one. I'm going to be going with Shane Young. I think if he gets a finish, it'll be later in the fight, at least over the halfway point, over, 1.5 rounds or something along those lines. Later in the second round, maybe third round. I think he'll be landing damage, avoiding the takedowns from Gabriel Miranda, and I don't think that he'll be able to get a submission on him. So Shane Young by late TKO. Moving up the card too, Mike Diamond versus Charlie RADTKE. I don't know how to say his name, dude. It's spelled RADTKE. There's too many fucking consonants. We need some vowels in there, dude. I don't know what's going on with your name, all right? But either way, dude. Radke? Let's say that. Radke, that sounds right. Anyways, dude, I don't know why Blood Diamond, Mike Diamond now apparently, is still in the UFC, but it is what it is. He's fighting a guy in Charlie RADTKE who is much more active in the MMA space, actually has a ground game, has a couple submissions on his record. Also, this is unlike the guy Gabriel Miranda. This is not a guy with a padded record. This dude has fought in Bellator. He has fought guys like Austin Hubbard. He is not losing to bums. He is not fighting bums. I don't see him losing a decision to Mike Diamond, and Mike Diamond had some good kickboxing highlights, right? Like, he's tricky to deal with. He's a good kickboxer, But in the UFC, it doesn't really seem like he has the power to kind of keep these guys off of him. And considering he's fighting a guy who has a very good ground game, which seems to be Blood Diamond, Mike Diamond, whatever the fuck, it's his kryptonite. So I do think that Charlie Radtke gets him down, either finishes him off with a TKO or gets a submission over Blood Diamond, and then maybe we won't see him fight in the UFC again, because I don't think he has gotten a victory yet. Moving up the card to Nasrat Haqparast versus Landon Quinones. Haqparast is a little inconsistent, man. Also, he's only ever got one finish out of 5 wins in the UFC, so he's not like a real threat in any particular area. And I don't mean to say that like disparagingly, but I just mean not an immediate threat. He's not going to finish you off rip. And he's not losing to fucking bums either, dude. The guy's had tough fights. He's fighting Bobby Green. He's fighting Dan Hooker. He's fighting Drew Dober. Goes the distance with Dan Hooker and Bobby Green. The only guy that's finished him in the UFC, if I'm not mistaken, is Drew Dober, which that dude hits hard as fuck, okay? So I am going to be going with Haqparast here. Landon Quinones, just, in my opinion, he's not... He was on Tough, okay? He was on this most recent season of Tough. He got submitted by Jason Knight. And I know Jason Knight is a fan favorite, and I know that he's skilled, and he's not just some fucking bum. But at this point in time, right? In this point in Jason Knight's career, his age, the damage that he's taken, things like this, I feel like a young up-and-comer should be able to get past a Jason Knight. Now, he did try to go back and correct things a little bit. He took a grappling match in between his loss to Jason Knight and this fight here. I don't think it'll make much of a difference. I think Haqparast is good on the ground, and I don't think that Landon Quinones will have improved enough. Consider fucking cat, dude, getting submitted by Jason Knight just recently. Didn't win a single fight on Tough, so it just didn't really impress me all that much. So I will be going with Nasrat Haqparast. I do think he could get a finish, but who knows? It's not something that he typically does. So either way, moving up the card to Jamie Mullarkey versus John MAKDESSI. I cannot side with my fellow Canadian. John MAKDESSI, been around for a very long time, and he's lost to some good dudes, okay? If he didn't get the split decision win over Ignacio Bahamondes, which was a very close fight, he would be on a 3-fight skid right now. He lost to Trinaldo, and I think he was even finished. He lost to Nasrat Haqparast. He's been around for a while. Here's the problem, dude. Aside from Ignacio Bahamondes, which was a split decision victory, as I just said, if you go over all of his wins, there's no win except for the Bahamondes one against an active UFC fighter. Everybody that he's beaten on his record is either retired or fights in a smaller organization now. So Jamie Mullarkey, while he is kind of like a veteran, we've seen him quite a few times. He's been around for a while. He's a young veteran. He's tricky to deal with. His style's a little more modern, and I think that he's just going to be able to kind of do what he wants at range, avoiding big shots from MAKDESSI. And I think that Jamie Mullarkey gets a unanimous decision, over John MAKDESSI. Moving up the card to Jack Jenkins versus Chepe Mariscal. I am unbelievably fucking excited for this fight. This is a sleeper fight right here. Jack Jenkins is very good. I very much enjoy watching him fight. He's been successful in both of his fights so far, both of them by decision. Chepe Mariscal. This dude has one of the most underrated records, I think, of any unranked prospect, okay? Typically, you see these dudes fighting in smaller organizations. You don't recognize the names. You look at the record. You see that it's shit. You're like, okay, great. He's got some fucking good wins over here against guys that aren't that great. Chepe Mariscal, dude, has a win over Youssef Zalal back in 2019. He's got a win over Pat Sabatini. He's got a win over Jordan Beltran, who's the fucking Wolf of Wall Street, is he not, dude? And he's also got a win over Trevor Peek most recently, which Trevor Peek, not the most technical dude, a fucking savage, though, okay? So that is an impressive win regardless. Now, his losses are even Bryce Mitchell and Gregor Gillespie. Imagine you've got all those names on your record and you've only been in the UFC for like one fight. Do you know what I mean? He's fought way better competition. I trust him to get finishes a little bit more than I do Jack Jenkins. And Chepe Mariscal's a underdog here. Plus 170, okay? And that's right now. So who knows because especially since it's an Australian card, Jack Jenkins is, around that area, perhaps the money line moves a bit towards Jack Jenkins, people betting on him. If there's a live dog on this card, it's fucking Chepe Mariscal, okay? So I'm going with Mariscal to get the job done. Don't know how. Shane Young's a tough guy to finish, but Mariscal's fought way better competition, man. He's beat better guys. Jack Jenkins, while he's looked good, has not fought the same kind of competition. So I'm going to trust in Chepe Mariscal to get the job done. Moving up the card to Carlos Ulberg versus Da Woon Jung. I'm going to be going with Carlos Ulberg here, pardon me. Ulberg's a pretty big favorite, minus 278 on the UFC's website, which is a very random fucking number. Both these guys we do not see a whole lot of grappling from. Jung is on a 2-fight skin, losing to Dustin Jacoby, which was a finish, and Devin Clark. Now, both these guys have only ever been KO'd once. So the Dustin Jacoby was the only KO against Da Woon Jung, or Da Woon Jung, whatever, and Carlos Ulberg got KO'd by Kennedy Zichukwu, or whatever, dude. You know what I mean? The tall, lanky dude. Who Da Woon Jung finished him. So it's weird, man. But to be fair, Kennedy Zichukwu, whatever, can pull fucking, he can pull finishes out of his ass sometimes, and you're just like, wait, what, dude? You could do that? Do you know what I mean? So I'm not holding it against him all that much. It was a few years ago. I'm going to trust that he fixed the things that went wrong in that fight, and I'm going to go with Carlos Ulberg to get the job done over Da Woon Jung by TKO KO, because these guys, they don't know what a decision is. Do you know what I mean? So Carlos Ulberg by knockout. Moving up the card to Tyson Pedro versus Anton TURKALJ. This one I had going back and forth a little bit. The problem is I've recency biased against Tyson Pedro because he looked like fucking garbage against MAKDESSI's Bukalkas. He just did, dude. He gassed after like a couple minutes. And it was very frustrating to watch because I think I picked him to win. But Anton TURKALJ is shit, okay? He's a fucking cheater to boot. I don't know if it was the Contender Series fight or if it was his first fight in the UFC where he fought Vito Petrino. Dude's handsy. He grabs the cage. He grabs the gloves. I'd be surprised, or I wouldn't be fucking surprised if we saw him oil checking a dude pretty soon here, okay? The dude likes to grab shit, and the refs like to not see it, or just don't give a fuck. It's very frustrating. He came into the Contender Series as this like knockout artist. I think he won a decision, and that might have been the one that he was cheating a fuck ton in, and then he lost twice in a row. You know what I mean? Getting strangled by Jailton Almeida and losing a decision to, I can't remember who the other guy was, but he's not what people thought he was going to be, okay? He has a good record based off of fighting shit competition. Considering all of his wins are by, like, KO or TKO, he doesn't really give off those vibes. And especially, I mean that in, like, the way that he fights. I could feel my spit building up like MMA Joey. Tyson Pedro is very good. He has very good skills. He just needs to fucking harness them and not gas out in 2 minutes. So I hope that he's been treating his body well and working on his cardio, because if he comes in and doesn't gas in 1 minute, I think he beats the ever-living fuck out of Anton TURKALJ. So I'm going with Tyson Pedro over Anton TURKALJ, and I would imagine that we do see a finish at some point in this fight. Moving up the card, Justin Tafa versus Austin Lane. Okay, rescheduled bout. I think it was maybe 3-4 months ago or something like that, right? They were scheduled to fight. They did fight. Austin Lane poked him in the eye in the opening like minute, I think it was, and resulting in a no contest. Unfortunate all around. Austin Lane looked very good in the opening minute. If I'm not mistaken, he tagged Justin Tafa with a few big shots. Justin Tafa is a big favorite for some reason, okay, because he didn't really look that good. And to be fair, we didn't get a whole lot. We didn't get to see a whole lot, right, because the eye poke happened so early on. And I'm going to pick Justin Tafa to win, but I wouldn't bet on him simply because of the value there, because Austin Lane did look good in the opening minutes. Now, I have a hunch that, or like a suspicion or a gut feeling that Justin Tafa will be able to weather the storm from Austin Lane and then eventually get inside and land like a big hook or something like that, because Justin Tafa is tough as fucking nails, okay? And I know that he got knocked out by Yorgan De Castro, which is not ideal. But Austin Lane got knocked out to fucking Greg Hardy, who beat Yorgan De Castro. MMA math is fucking wild, okay? And I think that might have even been in the same year. I think Justin Tafa got knocked out by De Castro the same year as Austin Lane got KO'd by Greg Hardy. I could be incorrect about that, but either way, dude. I don't know. I think Justin Tafa is going to be able to weather the storm. I think Austin Lane will look good early on. He's a very big guy. He looks way more in shape than Justin Tafa does, obviously, and he's longer, so I think he's going to have an advantage for a little bit, but I think that Justin Tafa has been there, done that, seen this before, like big guys at heavyweight that are tall and lanky. Do you know what I mean? His brother, Junior Tafa, has experience in Glory Kickboxing, fighting guys who are way longer, way bigger than him, and in way better shape. So I would just imagine that this is something that these guys are kind of used to. And I think that Tafa's got the better chin. So I do think that Austin Lane lands some good shots on him early on, maybe once again, but eventually TAFA weathers that storm, gets his way inside, lands a big counter hook, and puts Austin Lane to fucking sleep. Moving up the card to Manel Kape. Dude, we're ripping through this card. What the fuck's going on? Manel Kape versus Felipe dos Santos. Manel Kape might be the most unhinged, yet the most based fighter on the roster. He's a madman. And it's crazy because I'll tell you what, dude. I'm not trying to bitch about this shit, okay? Because whatever. He can say whatever the fuck he wants. I don't care. If a white guy said the shit that Manel Kape said, that guy would have been kicked out of the UFC a long time ago. Manel Kape is, like, unironically a race realist. But people just let it slide because he's black. So it is what it is, dude. He's fucking... He's unhinged. But I like him a lot. He's a cool dude. Manel Kape, okay? He's had 3 fights fall through. Alex Perez, Davidson Figueiredo, and Kaikar France, who, by the way, I need to go on a little rant right here because Eugene fucking Behrman, okay, went on a diatribe about how you don't pull out of fights with injuries regarding, you know, he's talking about Dricus du Plessis and shit like that. He says his guys don't do that. They fight through it. They go through camps even if there's a 1% chance they might get the call as a backup. They don't pull out of fights due to injuries. All this shit. My guys fight with injuries all the fucking time, he says. And then Kaikar France, on their, like, the card that was essentially built for city kickboxing and gyms like that, like the Australian, the New Zealand fighters, pulls out. He pulled out, okay? Huge. So what the fuck, huge? Like, what? It was hilarious that he went on this huge diatribe about Dricus du Plessis, and then shortly thereafter, Kaikar France pulls out. So, just thought I'd throw that in there, all right? Now, some kid, dude, Felipe dos Santos, some kid, is getting a huge opportunity here. If he wins this fight, he's in the top 10 of the UFC's flyweight division, which would be fucking crazy. Dude's 7-0. Good mix on his wins as well. He's got a few KOs, few subs, few decisions. So he's not a one-trick pony by any means. But I am going to be going with Manel Kape because Dos Santos, while he's got a good record, I'm sure he's a little savage. The guys that he's fighting they're not overly experienced. They don't have a whole lot of fights on the record. And, you know, to be fair, neither does he. You're right, he's 7-0. So, I mean, he's fighting guys that are essentially on his level. But now he's stepping in here against a guy who, in his UFC debut, if I'm not mistaken, fought Pantoja, who's the fucking champion, okay? Lost, which is fine, a decision. Then lost to Mateus Nicolau, who's also very good in this division, okay? And he's got wins over guys that are also good in this division. He's been there, done that, fought some of the, literally the fucking champion, right? Best guys in the division, won some, lost some, on a 3-fight win streak right now after his last loss. Is capable of getting crazy finishes and shit like that. Like, he's just, dude, Manel Kape, he's not that old, but he's like 18-9, so he's got a ton of experience, like literally 4 times as much as Felipe dos Santos. I think my kitten's about to make an appearance. No, she's not. Okay, either way, dude, I'm going with Manel Kape because I just experience, you know what I mean, and I don't think that Dos Santos is going to be able to finish him or anything like that. And I think that experience when it comes to winning rounds, is a pretty big leg up for Manel Kape. So Manel Kape, safe pick. Don't know how he gets it done, but I do trust in him to get the job done. Now we're already at the co-main event, which is insane. Tai Tuivasa versus Alexander Volkov. I'm going with Alexander Volkov. Tai Tuivasa's fun as fuck, dude. I would love to see him win, especially in Australia. Do the shoey, the whole 9, all that good shit. You know, and he's so much fun to watch fight, right? But Alexander Volkov is a much better technical striker than him. He's much longer than him. Tai Tuivasa is going to have to, like, really rush forward to close the distance on Alexander Volkov. He's going to have a ton of range on him. He's going to be front kicking up the middle to Tai Tuivasa's guts until he shits himself. And I just, something that also, I want to give Alexander Volkov a bit of credit here because in the past, the dude was pretty content going to decisions, and he would kind of just point fight. Like, I'm sure everything he throws hurts just because of how big of a body it is, right? But he would kind of, like, in the Derek Lewis fight, for instance, was content, and then throws a lazy leg kick and gets fucking flatlined. Do you know what I mean? In his last 2 fights, however, the guy's kind of been going for it a bit more. So I wonder if that was something that his coaches noticed or that he noticed himself, like, hey, I kind of need to stop, like, just coasting or whatever. I need to go for it a little bit more. And he's gotten 2 finishes in his last 2 fights, which is cool, man. I appreciate it, especially from a heavyweight, especially from a technical striker like Volkov, who can get fun, cool finishes. Do you know what I mean? So I think that he just pokes Tai Tuivasa's guts up until he hurts him. I could see him landing front kick to the face. I could see him, like, you know what I mean? I don't know if he gets a finish. He probably should, because the longer you're on the feet with Tai Tuivasa, the more danger you are in. But I just think that he's going to be able to get it done. I don't think that Tai Tuivasa is going to win. I think that, you know, it is what it is, man. I would hope that he wins just for fun's sake, but I'm going with Alexander Volkov. You know, Volkov beats all the guys he's supposed to beat, right? Like, he lost to Curtis Blades by raping, right? Cyril Gane, I think it was he went to a decision with Cyril Gane, if I'm not mistaken, which is also impressive, okay? Because every time Cyril Gane wins and does something spectacular, like he did last Saturday, considering you went to a decision to him, that kind of ages better as time goes on. You're like, yeah, I lost, but I didn't get fucking like that guy. Do you know what I mean? So that's not bad. Tom Aspinall, dude. I mean, fuck, it's Tom fucking Aspinall, dude. And he arm locked him, so it wasn't like he got outstruck or anything like that. But either way, better technically. He's gonna kick him at range, make him shit his pants with his front kicks and things like that. So Volkov, by unanimous decision and or a late finish. I could potentially see him hurting Tai Tuivasa to the body, getting him curled up in that way that he kind of does when he gets hurt to the body. And then considering Volkov is like 6'7", right? He could whip up a high kick like that, especially if he's got you curled over from a body shot. So if he gets a finish, it'll probably be later on, late round 2, round 3 type shit like this. And I do think that it'll hurt him to the body first and then go upstairs if that is how, if there is a finish, I think that that's how it'll go. Now, main event time. Israel Adesanya versus Sean Strickland. Okay, dude, I already did a video talking about how I don't think Israel Adesanya will finish Sean Strickland, but I'll still go into this fight. It is what it is, man. I think Israel Adesanya is going to get the job done. Now, I did, as I just said, I did a video where I talked about how I didn't think he would get a finish because, historically speaking, when he goes on, promises spectacular performances, promises that guys are going to get slept, all this shit, we get snooze fests, okay? So that was all I was saying. People got really upset. You get called, do not step on my keyboard, cat. You get called a hater if you think someone's going to win, right? But you say that they're not going to get a finish. Like, what the fuck, dude? Sean Strickland's not an easily finishable guy, okay? When Alex Peda landed that clean left hook on him, he was standing back up. Alex Peda had to land another one. So I wasn't, whatever, dude. Fuck y'all. Either way, dude. Israel Adesanya, by unanimous decision, 50-45, 49-46, 50-45. And I'll say this, though. If he does get a finish, this is for, like, betting purposes. If he does... Cat, you can't keep doing this, dude. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. If he does get a finish, it'll be, I think, over the 2.5 round mark. Like, over the halfway mark. Because he'll be chewing up Sean's legs. He'll land a few really hard body kicks from the southpaw stance, which he's very good at. He'll switch and it's lightning fucking fast. I think after chewing up his legs a little bit, if we see a finish, I do believe it'll be a head kick. I truly believe that. I think that if actually it'll be a question mark kick, if anything. Okay, so chop the legs, chop the body, jabs from range, shit like this. Sean Strickland's gonna. I really hope he grapples, man, because that's kind of like the only way. If he's got to mix things in, get Izzy worried about the takedown, and then you can land your boxing. Do you know what I mean? But don't just walk forward the way that you did with Alex Peda, because Israel Adesanya can watch that fight between you and Alex Peda, and even though it wasn't all that long, he can get a lot of information from, bro, this fucking cat. Okay, either way. Sean Strickland has improved defensively since that Alex Peda fight, however, so it's not like he's just the exact same guy. Man, the reason I don't see Izzy finishing him is because Sean Strickland's going to be in his face pressuring him. And Israel Adesanya kind of needs space to work. He needs to throw the feints. He needs to throw the leg kicks. He needs to throw the body kicks. All this shit, right? Like, he needs space to work. His kicking game is leagues above his pure boxing game. He was getting outboxed in the pocket by Robert Whittaker. If you don't think so, go back and watch that fight in slow motion, okay? Because he was getting left hook jabbed in the face by a guy who's got like an 8-inch reach disadvantage. Sean Strickland, in my opinions, pure boxing is better than... No, Kate, if you fucking stop this video, I'll be so mad, dude. Fucking cat, dude. Sean Strickland's boxing is better than Robert Whittaker. So if Sean Strickland can close the distance and avoid a lot of those big kicks... Now, something that's... Sean Strickland's leg kick defense is not all that great. You see him get kicked in the leg quite a bit. Abus Magomedov was even having success early on. So he's going to have to pressure, go forward, shoot a bit, right? Just don't eat a fucking knee like Derek Brunson. And mix it up so that he's not just in his world the entire time. But also, the pressuring is going to be different for him. Israel Adesanya, he's a very good counter-striker. And while he flatlined Pereira with a right hand, I don't think he's going to be doing that to Sean Strickland. I just don't. Sean Strickland's not an easy guy to finish, man. And I don't think that he'll attack the same way that Alex Pereira did, as recklessly as Alex Pereira did if he were to ever get Israel Adesanya hurt. Izzy's gonna win, man. It is what it is. I don't know what else to fucking say about it. It's pretty like self-explanatory. It is what it is, dude. Sean Strickland, it would be amazing if he won. I would be so happy. I would be fucking elated, over the moon. I just don't think it's going to happen, because he even said in an interview recently with Mike Bone, or whatever the fuck his name is, from MMA Junkie, he says, yeah, you know, I can wrestle and like all this shit, and he goes, but when I fucking get in there, the fucking retard comes out. Bitch, I will fucking get rid of you. I swear to God. Alright? Either way. He doesn't necessarily fight to the best of his ability. He doesn't use all of his tools. He doesn't use all of his weapons. And in order to beat Israel Adesanya, he's going to have to do that, right? He's going to have to stick to a game plan for 25 minutes, which I don't think that he's typically used to. Now, his coach, Eric Nixick, is, in my opinion, phenomenal. And I think that if there is a guy who could create a decent game plan for a tough challenge like an Israel Adesanya, it would be somebody like Coach Eric Nixick. So, this bitch is on one, dude. Hey, what are you doing? Bro. Anyways. Israel Adesanya by unanimous decision. 50-45, 49-46, 50-45. He could potentially finish him. It'll be later on in the fight after the 2.5 round mark. He'll be chewing up his legs, kicking to the body if Sean Strickland can't pressure him enough, can't mix in the takedowns and shit like this. And if a finish does come, it'll be a question mark kick that starts it off, okay? My cat's fucking around too much. I have to cut this video now. Like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I will see you at the next video. Bye-bye.